Well, hi there. I'm Anne, and I'm the default cook in my home as well as a few corners of the internet. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to be making caramelized apples. We're going to start with about a pound of Granny Smith apples. You can use a different kind of apple if you prefer. I really like the tart kind of Granny Smith with the sweetness of the caramelization, but Honeycrisp, Envy, any apple that holds up well in cooking will do just fine in this recipe. So we're gonna use about a pound of apples. That's gonna be about 2.5 on these because apparently I bought apples that were just a little too small to do 2. We're also going to need some brown sugar, a little cinnamon, not this whole thing, you don't need a big container of cinnamon, some vanilla, a little bit of lemon juice, and when we move to the pan, we will use some butter as well. As far as what goes in the mixing bowl, everything but the butter. First thing we are going to do is peel our apples, and you can use either a knife or you can use a peeler, or if you have one of those like fancy spinny apple peeling things, then you can use that. I don't have that. So I am using a mix of my paring knife and my vegetable peeler here today. I did wash these, even though we're not eating the skins, and you can skip peeling if you want to have the skins. I just find that it's better to still wash. I just washed it with a little bit of vinegar. So it's not, nothing fancy, nothing crazy. And peeling, I do find that rather than up and down, I tend to get a better grip on the apple just going around. You do want to buy kind of larger apples. The first couple times I did this, I got lunchbox apples because I was photographing and I thought, oh my gosh, it'll be so cute with like a little lunchbox apple like as a prop. But then you have to peel lunchbox size apples. Did not think that all the way through. Since this one I'm only doing a half, I'm going to peel it with the knife. I cut it in half and then I'm going in for the core. Getting out any bits that have turned brown on the inside already. These have been in my fridge for a little bit. And once we have quarters, we'll just slice into either halves or thirds, depending on the size of your apple, and then dice them up. When cutting our apples, we just want to make sure that we're getting pretty uniform sizing. If we have really little pieces and then big chunks, they won't cook evenly and your big chunks won't be done when your little ones are starting to get very soft. Once we have all our apples in the bowl, I like to do the lemon next because I've already got my knife handy. And we're gonna just use the juice of 1/8 of a lemon. So we have it again, and we have a lemon wedge. I like to do this first for a couple of reasons. One is that if any seeds drop in, it's a lot easier to pick them out, like that one just dropped in there, when everything's not already covered in sugar. And this lets me give them a light toss with just the lemon juice, and that helps them not oxidize. That said, we're gonna be at the stove in like 3 minutes. They're not gonna get much of a chance to oxidize, but especially if you have little kids who are going, hey, mommy, 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 and you need to stop at a point before you move to the hot stove, that does help a little bit so that they don't get brown on you while you're helping your kids do whatever you need to do before you get back in the kitchen. So our other ingredients, besides our pound of apples and our 1/8 of a lemon for the juice only, we're going to do a 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar. I do like to crumble that in. I like to measure it well and then crumble it in. And just a moment because I need to rinse my hands, but then we'll put in our cinnamon and our vanilla and stir everything together. And of course, start making this with clean hands since we are using them. So we need a 1/4 teaspoon. The one thing I didn't get out, and that's our measurement for both the cinnamon and the vanilla. And oh my gosh, that's what else I forgot to get out before. We are going to use a little salt as well. Helps balance things. We're using a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then we just need a little bit of salt. Do I have a 1/8? I have a 1/4 with a 1/8 indentation. Or you can just kind of sprinkle a little bit on. It's like 2 pinches. Also, potentially hot take, this isn't dirty. The only thing it touched is salt, which is in our water and everything. So, potentially controversial, but it's okay. Even if you disagree, you can do what you want in your kitchen. This one's mine. 2 tablespoons of butter is going to go in our pan. We'll go ahead, separated that out, throw that in our skillet, and we are going to give this a stir until everything is well combined. And I know it doesn't feel like it, but we're halfway done. Honestly, peeling and chopping the apples takes just as much time as actually caramelizing them. Which is why if you want to leave the peels on, I understand. They just look prettier this way. And they're great over ice cream, of course, but we also use them on like pancakes and waffles and just kind of dress up breakfast, especially if we've got some apples that are starting to get a little less crisp, but still have enough crisp left in them for cooking. If they're starting to like really get close on the kind of like squishability and don't have that crisp left, but are still good, then apple butter or something like that is a better solution for them. Alrighty. And now we are going to move to our skillet. Go ahead and turn on medium heat. Mine goes from low to high with 2 through 6 in between. So 4 is my medium point. We're going to bring over that same spatula. No need to dirty extra stuff. Just make sure that what you use is a heat safe. This is a silicone spatula. And when I'm looking for one, if you're ever looking for recommendations, I'm looking for them to be all one piece as opposed to a head that comes off, because if that head comes off, that means that food and things can get inside that little like notch. So look for all one piece. Once our butter is melted, go ahead and pour in our apples. And any sauce drippings here on the side, we want to scoop those right in too. That, along with the butter, is what's going to form our caramel. And if you can't do dairy or just don't do dairy, you can use coconut oil instead of butter. So if these were peaches or pears, because I caramelized those too, those are a little more delicate, and so I would sit them and rest them for a few minutes before flipping individually. These, I'm still gonna rest for a few minutes while we still have a lot of liquid in the pan, but they hold up to stirring. So in a few minutes, we'll stir, probably about 2-3 minutes. And while that does that, I will clean up the counter. We're starting to see some bubbles here. Let me show you. And it's just starting to get a little bit thickened. which means this is a good time to do our first stir. On this side, see how it's starting to kind of stick a little bit to the spatula? We're starting to get a little bit thickened here. Takes a little bit of time because as the moisture from the apples comes out, it's constantly giving the pan more liquid those first few minutes. But we're starting to get a little bit thicker of that caramel sauce. And now that it is getting more thick like this, we want to stir more frequently to make sure that we don't end up burning it. Now at this point, it's really a matter of personal preference when you call them done. Usually this takes between 10 and 12 minutes. On 10, they're a little bit on the firmer side on the inside, but still soft on the outside. Soft on the outside, but crisp on the inside. With a few more minutes, then they get softer on the inside as well. And if the sauce gets too thick, you can always add a splash of water. So I'm going to fork test these. There's still a little bit of resistance. So they're firmer than, say, like a mashed potato bound potato would be. But it didn't take a lot of effort to put the fork in either. And I'm just giving it a second while it cools down so that I can give it a taste test. Yeah, that's just slightly soft on the exterior, but still with that little bit of crisp inside, which is so nice. So I'm just gonna give these like 30 more seconds, stirring pretty constantly because I don't want the sauce to burn. And if you're worried about that too, you can always turn your stove down a little bit. I'm still on medium. If you want your apples a little more soft, a little more longer time to cook, you can turn this down to low a little bit and give them a little bit of water with the sauce. That'll give you a little more liquid to evaporate. It'll help steam the apples a little bit. And give you a little more moisture in that pan. But these, I'm going to call done. So we're going to turn that off. If you are cooking on electric at this point, you'll want to move your pan because that burner will still be very hot. Oh my goodness. Is that just not delightful looking? If I could get it to focus. There we go. Browned on the outside. Yeah, that extra minute, they're a lot softer now. So keep that in mind too. If you do a taste test and you're like, man, I want them just a little bit softer, keep in mind that the few seconds that you were waiting for it to be cool enough to do the taste test, these kept cooking. But these are perfect to me. There's still just a little bit of crisp on the inside. Now also as this cools, our sauce is going to thicken up a little bit too. Now we're ready to serve. Just need like a little ice cream or something to put these on top of. Or not, you can just eat them plain. As it cools, the sauce will continue to thicken a little bit. Make sure when you scoop some that you're getting that sauce. We don't want to waste that and throw it away in the pan. It's especially good over vanilla ice cream. And pancakes and everything. I hope you and your family love these. You are doing a fabulous job. I'm really proud of you. Keep it up, and I will see you again next time.